What is it with the price of these specialist tools from Harley Davidson? Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So yeah, out and about, tootling about on the older heroic Harley, and I just thought I'd raise this question, and I suppose it relates to Harley Davidson, but I suppose it can also relate to all automotive manufacturers, right? When there is a specialist tool in the service manual and you can't buy it from your local tool supplier, it either has to come from the dealer themselves or it has to come from the supplier who supplies the dealership. Now sometimes the manufacturers, they sell you these tools, and a lot of the times they don't. So if you can buy them, then you're forced to pay an extortionate price for them, or you're forced into trying to make a tool yourself. Now, if you watch my channel, you might have picked up on the fact that I don't really like to pay for things unnecessarily, especially for tools that I probably use once or twice in the lifetime of the bike. So I'd much prefer to make my own if I can. And indeed, I've made a couple of tools here and there for the bike, and I'm sure you have too. If you tinker with your bike, if you work on your bike for any length of time and you own the same bike for any length of time, you're often either try and find cheaper alternatives, or you end up making your own tool for yourself. Now in the past, when I've talked about making your own tools for working on your Harley, for example, I get criticised in the comments saying, oh, why don't you just go and buy the $10 part or the $10 tool? I said, well, first of all, there are two issues here, so let me address that first of all. Where you are, it may be very easy to get a tool to do whatever you need to do. Where I am, it may not be. So that's one issue. They just may not sell them where I live, but where you are, they may sell them readily. If I have to find it online, that might be possible, but there might be a delay in it arriving. It really depends where it is. So let's just say I'm in the middle of a project, I'm in the middle of doing something, and I need a specific tool there and then. And if I have to wait for this tool to arrive, it's just going to delay the project so much more. So therefore you end up just making your own tool, or trying to make your own tool, or just trying to make do with something else. So it's not always cut and dry about buying a tool or wanting to spend the money. It's about the urgency of using a specific tool. So I thought I'd make this video just to ask you guys out there, if you own a Harley Davidson, I suppose with an M8 engine, because that's what I ride as well, you know, what specialist tools have you either bought, how much you paid for them, or have you had to go and make your own tools as well, just to get the job done, as it were? As I say, in some places, in some parts of the world, let's say United States, you might be able to go to the dealership direct and buy the tool. Here, for example, in most cases you can't. There are a couple of tools that they do sell, but most they don't. So if you've got a service manual and it says you need to have this specialist tool, for example, or the part number, and it'll say this is a part number, this is what it is. Well, that's a Harley Davidson part number, but these tools aren't usually available. You either have to make it, or you have to try and source the original supplier to Harley Davidson to see if they'll sell you it. But as I said, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money to do that. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. So the front wheel, you can get an adapter to remove the spindle. Now these can be 15, 20 pounds, something like that. Depends on where you get them from. Harley Davidson, they don't sell that. They do have it, but they don't sell it to you, okay? Because it's a certain size hex gear. I think it's either a 19 or a 21 mil Allen fitting or a hex fitting, right? Harley Davidson, they do have that. But then you can buy them online, like multiple adapters. But also you can make one just by welding together some hex bolt heads and then just grinding it away until you get the right fitting. Okay, so that's a way of doing it. That's only a $15, £15 tool, so that's no mean shake. You might as well just go and buy it. And that's essentially what I did in the end. But the most recent work that I've done on the bike with these automatic compression release valves, there is a specialist tool from Harley Davidson. I think it's in the region of about £150 if you wanted to try and source it from somewhere else. Now the previous engine, the twin cam, you could buy those tools quite readily for quite cheap, whereas with the M8, specialist tool, again very similar, and they're pretty much just like oxygen sensor tools really, or difficult access tools, sockets. They're very similar, but it's something like a 13/16 or a 21 mil. That's what you need, and they just don't sell them. They're very hard to come by, and it's also got to be a specific height so you get the clearance from the top of the frame. So it is specialist in that regard. Now, say it will cost about £150 to get one. Well, I just made one from a 13/16 spark plug. It would have cost about, let's say, maximum of £10. I actually just had one in my workshop, so I just grabbed it, cut it, and away I went. So sometimes it's really easy to do. Other times it's really difficult to make your own specialist tools. So as I say, over to you guys. Let us know, Harley Davidson's with an M8 engine, doesn't have to be, it could be any bike for that matter. What specialist tool have you had to fashion in your own workshop, and did it work, and was it much better bet than trying to find the official tool from the manufacturer? Let us know in the comments below. But for me, as I say, spending crazy money on a tool that you're only going to use once or twice just seems a little bit ridiculous. So if you can try and make one yourself, or you can try and find a cheaper alternative, that's certainly something that I like to promote on this channel. But whether you can do it or whether you can find something, I mean, who knows? But as I say, let us know in the comments below what tools you've had to make just to get the job done on your bike. Right, best I'll get back on the road. Catch you again. Ta-da.